Welcome to the What's Happening Birmingham video podcast.
Hello everyone, this is Jarvis Escott with What's Happening Birmingham. Today, got the honor and pleasure and welcome back the Mayor of Birmingham, Randall Woodfin. Mayor Woodfin, welcome back, brother.
Hey man, happy to be with you, brother. Good to see you, man.
Good. I know it's been a while since last time being on the podcast. This year has been can't explain what this year has been so far. So I wanted to bring the mayor on to just basically just give us an update on a lot of things. So first off, how you doing, man?
I'm doing the best I can as relates to just the job. On a personal note, I think the biggest thing for me is that I'm just steady, calm, and trying to make the best decisions we can with all of the things we have got going on in 2020.
All right, so let's just go back 6 months ago when COVID-19 first came on the radar, first came to America. What was your initial thoughts, as a person, as mayor, and what effect will it have on the city?
Yeah, so all of those thoughts were the same as a person, as mayor, and effects on the city. The initial thought was I didn't want people to die. I was concerned, I was worried that a virus could spread among a community that's at high risk. We not only have a high black population, we have a high senior population. We not only have a high black and senior population, but we have a lot of people who have underlying conditions here. And so my initial concern back in March was, what can I do? What should I do to make sure that hospitals don't get overrun and a lot of people don't die? So I declared a citywide state of emergency along with the state. The first city to pretty much do a curfew, the first city in the state to do a facial cover ordinance. And all of that was rooted in the fact that we were listening to the health experts. Mark Wilson, our Jefferson County health officer, along with Will Fernandy, head of UAB Health Systems, along with Selvin Vickers, the dean of UAB School of Medicine. These are the health experts that I leaned on, that I trusted, that provided guidance and recommendations to me to make the best decisions to protect and save lives.
All right, and when, that being said, your thoughts and your decisions, now you look back 6 months from now, everybody started doing mass ordinances and curfews and, subsequent lockdowns. I want to talk to you now about when they started thinking about the budget and how it was going to affect the city.
Well, we start our budget process very early. Consider this, the budget usually starts July 1 of every year. We submit our budget in May. That means before the coronavirus, we were already working on our budget. But then we got thrown a curveball with the coronavirus. When you had the economy shut down and businesses were closed, we realized that as a city, we're heavily dependent on sales taxes. If you consider the fact that people stopped, stores closed, so an employees were off, so they weren't paying occupational taxes. The customer couldn't come in, so the city wasn't receiving sales taxes. We weren't having events in our city, so the city wasn't receiving lodging taxes. And I got many other examples of the decrease in taxes we were receiving. All of that started in March, and we had to pause on submitting a proposed budget in May that would have started in July, because we didn't know what was going to happen in March and April and May and June, etc. Now we fast forward, we presented our budget back in August, a couple months ago, and we realized we were facing a significant budget deficit due to the loss of collecting taxes.
Okay, and what Debbie said, what was your main goals and objectives behind the budget?
The main goals and objectives are the main thing in focus of any municipal government is public safety and public infrastructure. It's no one else's job to provide police, fire, paramedic. It's no one else's job to pave streets, sidewalks, curbs, lights, etc. So we are responsible for public safety and public infrastructure. Therefore, I had to continue to make that the priority. Everything else became secondary because we didn't have the taxes as it relates to the amount of money the city collected that we had last year.
All right, and with this budget, in past years, the budget process has been pretty easy. You present it to the council, get passed. You may have a little differences, but this year we just got, because of COVID-19, and it just got a little bit more contentious. And everybody, what was some of the biggest misconceptions and misinformation about the budget? And the number I saw a lot was this 63 million. And can you kind of explain that?
Yeah, well, that number was real. Listen, there's nothing wrong with contention. We are a democratic process. Everybody's not going to agree. But think about this. That budget pretty much passed intact. 6 out of 9 passed a budget and didn't change anything. The truth is because everything was already cut. Right? These are good people on the council. We had to make tough decisions. But there was nothing else additional to cut. We cut salaries in the form of, we didn't cut salaries. We took away paid vacation days. We took away cost of living adjustment. We took away merit pay and longevity pay. I decreased my pay. We decreased every department's budget. We took away vacant positions. We furloughed some employees. No one wants to furlough anybody. By the way, we're doing everything we can to be on the creative solutions end of this, find some of our city assets and find a way to sell them so we can net some cash and bring our employees back. We're doing everything we can to do that right now. But nothing wrong with contention because there was tough, unpopular, hard decisions we had to make in order to solve for a $63 million budget shortfall.
So when I saw in the news, and then, I guess I want you to speak on when people's like, well, the mayor's laying off people at the library. The mayor's laying off these. What was your thoughts when you saw that all that was going on during that time?
So I want to explain. There's a fundamental difference between a furlough and a termination. No one was laid off. Layoff is being fired. None of our employees have been fired. Our full-time employees and some of our part-time employees have been furloughed. They still have their access to the health benefits. They're still on our payroll. They still have first dibs to get their job back as soon as our finances are better. If you were fired, you would totally be out of the system. You couldn't have access to your benefits, and you would have to start the whole process of applying for your job over. So none of that exists. But that's the first thing I wanted to share. It's a full difference between furlough and termination. Second thing I wanted to share is that, the physical locations, the ability for you as a citizen to walk into a library, you have not been able to do that since February. They've been closed since March, April, May, June, July, August, September. And they would have been closed even if the budget was not changed because of the coronavirus. Most of these buildings are small. You don't have the room to social distance, etc. Back in May, the service went to a curbside pickup service as well as online access, archives, etc. That still exists even with the furloughs. So the service being provided to the residents is not going to stop. I'll be the first to tell you the emotional toll of furloughing people is extremely heavy. It's not something I want to do at all. But again, we're in a situation where there's a budget deficit. And when the finances get back right, we'll be able to bring not just them back, but think about all the culture and arts departments. It wasn't just our libraries. It was our Museum of Art. It was the Boutwell. It was the Arlington House. It was the Sloss Furnace Museum. It was the Southern Flight Museum, and many other of our cultural assets that received some type of pain point related to furloughs.
So going back to the budget for a moment, what were some things, and I don't want to put the words in your mouth, but I know this is a thing you're passionate about, you was able to still dedicate funding for neighborhoods?
Yeah, listen, the priority has always been neighborhood revitalization.
Okay.
A lot of neighborhood revitalization is rooted in infrastructure, but it's also rooted in removing blight. We have gotten to a point where we're still steady at removing blighted structures that have been abandoned and that residents have been complaining about 5, 6, 7 years. Still in the budget. We're still able to pave streets in the budget. We're still able to do weed abatement in the budget. The infrastructure things that the city is responsible for and investing in neighborhood revitalization, we're still able to accomplish that in this budget.
Okay, so, besides increasing the revenue, which, a lot of people not going to increase taxes, what are your other plans for, I know you talked about earlier about selling different assets and things like that. What are your other plans for trying to increase revenue, trying to close that hole?
So listen, when you got a funding gap, it's no different than your home. If you got bills to pay, your first option is to go get a second job so you can bring in more money. Your second option is to cut expenses. In our world, getting a second job is equivalent to raising taxes. We're not in a position to raise taxes at this point, which means we have to cut taxes. The only other thing we can do at this point is sell all city assets. So think about buildings we own, we don't use. Consider just city assets that are a property that we can sell. I think that's one of the most creative things we can do right now. We should be looking heavy into that.
So did the city receive any funding from the federal government as far as like doing this COVID-19 to kind of assist to plug the hole?
No, so the federal government was very explicit, unfortunately. I think the current occupant of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue wants to be at war with cities. It's explicit in the CARES funding that cities cannot use funding to plug or offset their budget deficits or holes that they have. They can only use it to reimburse expenses already spent out related to public safety. So yes, we had public safety related expenses. Yes, we had PPE expenses, but that money is to reimburse money we've already spent out. It can't go to plug a hole because the federal government is intentionally not allowing cities to do that. They've allowed it for banks. They've allowed it for airlines. Hell, they've even allowed it for public transit, including the Birmingham Jefferson County Transit Authority that got $21 million. Cities didn't get direct funding to plug our shortfalls.
All right, so let me move on to a little bit some of your initiatives. And despite of all this going on this year, I want to talk about one called Pardons for Progress.
Yes, sir.
Initiative. And I kind of did a little research, but I'm going to let you talk a little bit more about it. I thought it was really neat, kind of giving people a second chance.
So Pardons for Progress is rooted in that whole notion of all of our citizens deserve a second chance. And your past shouldn't always dictate your future. In this case, there have been many people who've smoked weed before, and at a certain point, they smoked weed outside of their home. They were in a vehicle or a public space and they got caught. They were charged with possession of marijuana, misdemeanor charge here in our city of Birmingham. They either pled guilty or was found guilty. This record still exists for them, which includes the arrest record. I have said, and it's very plain, y'all, if you have a one-time conviction of possession of marijuana in the city of Birmingham, I will outright dismiss it, no questions. You just need to let us know you have that conviction so we can start your process. Once you're able and in a position to have this case pardoned, you can then start your own process to cover your arrest record, which is through state law, not city. That means that when you go to apply for a job, all of this is sealed. It's like it never happened. Not just the conviction, but the arrest record as well.
All right, and I got two more questions real quick.
Yes, sir.
Update on Birmingham Promise and in the legacy business. I saw that initiative and just the final goals for.
Well, yeah. So the Birmingham Promise. The great news is college, and started for many of those entering students who finished high school in May of 2020, back in August, September, right? Over 500 students are able to participate and take advantage of the Birmingham Promise in its inaugural year. We're still getting donations. Our latest donations of contributions towards the Birmingham Promise is from AT&T. We've received donations in the past from Alabama Power, Altech Regions. We're looking to continue to receive more donations from corporate Birmingham, small businesses and individuals, etc. For more information, please go to birminghampromise.org to learn more about it. Mainly, especially if you have a senior in high school, because the deal is this: we want to increase the number of children who have the opportunity to go to college after they finish high school and don't have to worry about any hitting any walls financially related to paying their tuition all 4 years or all 2 years at a 2-year college. The other thing is the coronavirus, unfortunately, we hit a wall with the coronavirus with fundraising, as well as those students being able to be on a job site because most people started working from home. So the apprenticeship side, we look to be creative as it relates to this school year as well.
All right, and I guess the last thing, the legacy business thing real quick.
Yeah.
I saw that it was like legacy business here in Birmingham.
So ideally, it's very simple. Birmingham has a rich history of small businesses that have been around for quite some time. City of Birmingham Economic Development Department, under the leadership of Dr. Josh Carpenter and his team, are looking to provide opportunities for those who need it. And from a legacy standpoint, we know that the coronavirus had an impact on a lot of businesses, right? Before the CARES funding existed, we created our own Birmingham Strong Fund in partnership with the private sector to provide direct loans to our small businesses in our community. Well, 6-7 months later, we still need to be in a position to help organizations. So for more information on that, please visit the City of Birmingham website, birminghamal.gov, and go to our Department of Economic Development to learn more about, if you're a legacy business, the opportunity that exists for you.
All right, well, Mayor, thanks again. Any final thoughts when we wrap up?
Yeah, Jarvis, man, thank you for being a leader, brother, as always. Please keep continuing to keep the people informed. This has been a crazy year, but I'm always happy to see you healthy. I want to continue to see the community healthy. Y'all remember to continue to wear your mask, facial cover. Please continue to social distance. The coronavirus is still real. People are still getting it. People are still dying from it. People are still needing to be admitted to the hospital. Just because you're young doesn't mean you can't get sick. Just because you may be asymptomatic doesn't mean you can't affect other people. Please be careful. Please protect those who are vulnerable. Protect your family. Protect the seniors. Protect children. Protect yourself.
All right, well, Mayor, thank you. Always good to see you too, man. You've been busy this year. I know you've been moving.
Yes, sir.
Back and forth. So, man, continue to pray for you, man. You know, I'm going to do that for you personally. And y'all continue to pray for the mayor and everything as well. Thank you all for watching this video. Please check out what'shappeningbirmingham.com for more videos. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you all again. Have a great day. And wear y'all masks and wash your hands. All right, bye.
Thank you for watching the What's Happening Birmingham video podcast. Please check out our website, app, or subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest videos today.